All right, everybody. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Migrant Protection Protocols, or MPP program, which was established by the Trump administration a few years ago for asylum seekers to remain in Mexico while they seek asylum. This was started just a few years ago. Obviously, it has huge humanitarian effects on asylum seekers. There was a big outcry amongst certain areas of the US population of why we're leaving asylum seekers in Mexico to seek asylum. And to nobody's surprise, the Biden administration, upon being sworn in, stopped the MPP program and allowed asylum seekers to seek asylum from within the United States. Now, during the MPP program, courts were being held at the border of the United States with Mexico, and an asylum seeker would show up at the border, ask for asylum, and be given a date to return to the border while they remain in Mexico so they can have their hearing in the United States. They would show up the morning of, very early, check in with immigration, and be bussed to the court they're supposed to go to. Often there was a tent court, some building courts, they'd be bussed in with CBP, and then they would have their hearing with a judge. And if there was no date for the court, they'd be sent back to Mexico with a new hearing in hand. During COVID, many of those hearings were canceled. Many immigrants showed up at the border and they were told their court's been canceled because of COVID. Come back when you have a new court date, check in. And obviously, it was a huge mess for many people that had no idea when they had court. Not only that, I personally know many individuals who, while in Mexico, were kidnapped, were held for ransom, not only by cartel members, by the police themselves, and had a horrible experience in Mexico. But putting aside all the humanitarian issues and all the political issues, there is something still happening with MPP. When the Biden administration decided they would stop it, most immigration attorneys, including myself, thought that was a wonderful thing to do. We were very happy that asylum seekers could seek asylum in the United States once again. They could go to the courts, they could have an attorney present, and they could get their documentation and do everything they need to do within the United States, which is usually much easier than having to live in a tent somewhere in Mexico and try to get all the evidence you need for asylum, which is very difficult in and of itself to win asylum, even if you put aside waiting in Mexico. Nonetheless, two states, Texas and Missouri, they decided to sue the Biden administration, saying that they were harmed by the decision to stop the MPP program. The federal court, district court in Texas, agreed that the Biden administration did not follow the proper procedures to end the program. The Biden administration then appealed that decision to the Fifth Circuit, which didn't make a decision, and it got appealed to the Supreme Court, trying to stay the order of the district court, saying we want the program to stay ended while we litigate this. So the decision by the Supreme Court, which we're going to talk about, was only to determine whether or not the order of the Texas judge saying that the Biden administration had to reinstate the MPP program could be stopped or stayed. Now, the Supreme Court heard it. It was a very quick decision by the Supreme Court. They were briefed, and they had a brief that was due that day, a few days ago by 5 p.m. that same day. And around midnight, a decision came out from the Supreme Court. The decision was a simple order. It simply said that the Biden administration cannot show that its decision to end the MPP was not arbitrary and capricious. Those are all legal terms, arbitrary and capricious. What does that mean? It basically means is a government official can't just decide on a whim to decide to end a program or to do something just because they want to. We have a procedure wherein everything has to go through procedure established by Congress, Administrative Procedures Act, and even the President of the United States has to follow this procedure. And so the Supreme Court said, it looks to them, just looking at this, what's happening, that the Biden administration did not follow the proper procedure to end the MPP program, and thus it could not stay the district judge's decision to force the Biden administration to continue the program. Now, there was 3 justices who said that they would have stayed that order, but they did not cite to any law that would back up why they would stay it or how they would stay it. Maybe they were going to assume equitable powers, which the courts have equitable powers, and they could have maybe used their equity to do so. But they didn't say that. They said we would have stayed it. which I wish it would have been stayed, obviously. I would have liked that. But as a lawyer, I still want to see the law and why things are being stayed and done. And so I'm a little disappointed by the Supreme Court justices who said that they would have stayed it, but they gave no reason as to why, not even a brief sentence as to equitable powers, even something that would indicate that the court should have stayed it, even for humanitarian reasons, using their equity, as I stated. Nonetheless, the Supreme Court upheld basically the decision of the lower court. Didn't upheld the decision, that's still on appeal, but the motion to stay it was denied. And so the Biden administration is under court order to reinstitute as soon as possible and act in good faith the MPP program. What that means is it didn't just restart over one day, the next day, overnight, restart, everybody's done. Basically, the Biden administration has to act in good faith to reinstitute the program, which means speaking with the Mexican authorities, making sure that there's a place for people to stay, be bussed in. The whole program has to be reinstituted, which creates a lot of work. Now, obviously, what good faith means, and if the Biden administration is going to act in good faith, it's completely to be determined by the courts. I believe the Biden administration has started doing some stuff to get things rolling. I would hope that the Biden administration would actually follow the Administrative Procedures Act so that they can properly cancel this MPP program and asylum seekers can come to the United States. So don't be surprised if within a few weeks, few months, or whatever it is, we start having asylum seekers remain in Mexico again and go through this whole process while the Biden administration attempts to remedy their error in not following the APA as they should have from the beginning. So that's what's happening with the MPP. All right, guys, so immigration law is exceptionally complicated. There's details, law changes regularly. So obviously I would hope that you don't rely on these videos for legal advice. You should always seek assistance from an immigration attorney. Nonetheless, we'll be doing these videos regularly. If there's something in particular you want me to talk about, put it in the comments and I may address it, I may not. Depends on what's happening. All right, have a good one.